Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to East versus West.
All right, welcome everybody to an AMA session with Robert and I. And let me add Robert onto the stage in just a few minutes. It's Germany was good. Not gonna lie, Germany was really, really good. But internally, we are very excited for Little Rock because we are pretty confident that Little Rock would actually pull in bigger numbers. So here's Robert, and yeah, today it's just trying to answer questions. I know there was a lot of questions the other day, but I felt like we should try to keep that match announcement cleaner and answer all the questions tonight. We'll wait a couple minutes. I don't have to wait a couple of minutes. We already have questions. One is asking about Andrei Smaev. When will we expect to see him? Robert, you want to? I know we just got the news, so why don't you share that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much we want to talk about that right now since we've got Little Rock to focus on. But yeah, I've been working to get Andrei Smaev for a long time, and we owe this actually to our co-title sponsor, Bucked Up. Smaev's sponsor or his biggest sponsor is Bucked Up, and Ryan Gardner is the CEO and owner of that company. He's very close. He and his twin brother, actually, who's a co-owner of the company, very close to Smaev, and I've been asking them to help get him on board. He's kind of shy, doesn't like the spotlight, doesn't get out. He said no to everybody, even people in Russia that's wanted him to come out. He said no to. So I think we're really fortunate to have him. He's agreed to come to Batumi, Georgia on August 1st. And I guess we can do some guesses as to who his opponent is. But give people some time to think about that. But yeah, that's a real exciting one, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably the hottest thing right now on the internet. Maybe other than Devin and Vitaly right now, they might have surpassed him.
That's right. But we don't spend too much time on that. But everybody has been asking for him for months and months now, and so finally we can all right, guys, just hang tight till August 1st. But for now, let's keep it strictly, questions in regards to EVW 23 and 24, please. Let's see. Another one's asking about. They're already asking for Ayane's next match. And they're suggesting Vitaly versus Alijan soon. So all great suggestions.
That's a great suggestion.
Great suggestions. Another one is also suggesting Schoolboy left hand to see if he can crack into the top 10.
Yeah, it'd be an easy one for him to come to. I mean, doesn't require a visa from Russia.
Yeah. And let's see. Someone's asking about tournaments for the tournament. So the King of the Table version, the 60-kilogram class for women. So they're asking about that.
About the tournament?
Yeah, the tournament. So
yeah,
from my understanding, so King of the Table tournament, different regions have there is a local host that partners with us to kind of run and promote that part of the event for us, because we are also focused and our main focus is the super match side of things. And from my understanding, example, so a King of the Table tournament in Asia would have more lighter weight divisions than the North Americans and European ones. So that question is probably best suited for the tournament organizer.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So there's only two divisions that we have normally for the women, because the women's classes aren't as well attended. So so it'll be like the under 80. I'm trying to remember for this one. I don't think we changed it. Under 80 kg, over 80 kg. Um, um, so we don't have a lot of divisions for the tournament in the women's. We
Yeah.
like we do in the actual events that we hold for EVW.
Nick, someone asked us to confirm Vegas dates. I'd say hold off on that for now until things are set in stone. We don't want to give you the wrong dates and may not even be Vegas, just right. But we don't know which hotels and we don't know which resorts yet. But we're actively working. As Robert and I, we're kind of changing, how we do things. As soon as we finalize things, we will start telling things. We're not going to hide it. And we want to give people as much time possible to start planning out, for their PTOs, the vacation days, so they can come to the events. So as soon as we find out, we'll let you know right away. So, but Vegas is not confirmed yet. Let's see. Some people are pumped up for Devin versus Lavon, number 3. So that's pretty crazy. Let's see. Please, you're back. Are you going to reveal any more matches today, Robert?
No, there's one more match that we need to release. But as you know, Dexter, we had we wanted to have Rickard come, and he was very excited to come, and we had a match set for him, depending on what different things. So we had 2 options for him. He called me on Wednesday and said, I've got some bad news. I was pretty sore, a little bit of pain after the East vs. West 23 in Germany, and and there's no swelling, or there's no bruising, there's nothing like that. I didn't hear any pop or anything like that. But he said, the pain has gotten worse, so he's going to go in and get a scan. So he really can't come. I mean, if he's not 100%, we don't want him to come and get injured if he's slightly injured now. But it's probably nothing big. But we won't have Rickard. So that was one that I really wanted. So we're looking at several different. I mean, we're talking to several different people right now. Everybody's ready to go. It's just which one do we go with, and one of them depends on a visa. So I guess the long answer is what I just said. I mean, we don't know, but we'll know pretty soon on what the 13th match is.
Right. There's a guy spamming Lavon versus Andre Smaev. That's not going to happen for a while. Andre needs to prove himself first, fighting at his level before going all the way to the number 1 in the arm wrestling history. So
yeah, that wouldn't be right away. But Smaev is on a pretty high level. I mean, here's one thing I can say is that just from the videos that are out there on Smaev, on Larry Wheels, when they visited, when Larry visited him, maybe what was it, 4 or 5 months ago, something like that, maybe 6 months ago now, and Smaev was handling Larry Wheels very easily, and so in comparison, Leonidas, when he pulled Larry Wheels, he handled him pretty easily. So that's kind of where I'm thinking is Leonidas, I think, would be a really good match for Smaev.
Yeah. The next one is Dexter. How do you join the affiliate program? Well, go to partners.evwsports.com. That's how you join the affiliate program. That is for our Shopify sites. And to clarify, that affiliate program is strictly just for in-person tickets and our merchandise. The pay-per-view to qualify for the pay-per-view, you need to be pretty active on social media, and you need to be you need to show that you can actually promote and bring in sales before we put it on a pay-per-view affiliate program. That's a different program. That one's a little bit more a lot more work on our end, which is why I hold that to a higher regard. So at the very least, you can go, anybody can sign up for partners.evwsports.com.
Yeah. So something else too, maybe we should talk about. This might be a good time to talk about it actually, since we're talking about the pay-per-views and the affiliate program and all that.
Mhm.
Is what we're trying to do. We're doing everything in our power to move the sport into mainstream and actually have this be a sport where our athletes can be paid like other professional athletes, and that's their only job, is arm wrestling. That's really the only way I can see that North Americans can be on an even playing field with the East, because in Europe, because a lot of athletes in Eastern Europe um, are paid. I mean, they're subsidized by the government, because if they're a WAF champion, or even if they're not a WAF champion, if they're a WAF medalist, the government will a lot of times subsidize them, pay for housing, pay them a salary, pay for their coach, so they can be a full-time arm wrestler. So in order for us to reach that level, and in order for the sport to gain popularity and raise everybody up, we need to get off of pay-per-view, which is not a good it's not a good option for anybody. And that's why UFC is off of it. Other people are going off. I mean, they're leaving it. But in order to go on to a bigger, like a Netflix, for example, where most people are already members, it wouldn't cost them anything to watch an East versus West event. In order for that to happen, we have to show pay-per-view numbers that are respectable, which we can't do right now, because too many people are not buying the pay-per-view. I mean, I can't blame people, because the economy is tough. $20, you wouldn't think would be a big deal, but it is a big deal for a lot of people. They just can't afford the $20. Um, so that's the challenge. Like, so if we can give a discount, and then give another promo discount to the person that's bringing them in, because really we don't care so much about the discount. We care about the number of pay-per-views. That's what's going to get us onto Netflix, or a broadcast platform that's much, much bigger, that helps the whole sport. But because people aren't buying them, they're either trying to, they're waiting for something free, and then and our anti-piracy team comes in and knocks it off, knocks it down, and it's just a hassle, but they save the $20, right? But the other thing is, they're waiting a week. A lot of people are waiting a week to watch it for free on YouTube. So we're not getting so that's another reason we're not getting the pay-per-view buys, in order to show the big broadcasters that we're worthy of a mainstream sport. We're not worthy in their eyes, because we don't have the pay-per-views. So we have some, we really need to do whatever we can to get ourselves onto that platform. There are a couple different options that I'm thinking. I haven't actually told you about this yet, Dexter, but maybe what we do is, rather than making it free after a week, we put it on our members channel for a much reduced price. But at least we can show that it's those numbers, even though it's not nearly as much as the $20. Anyway, so we're trying to think of ideas. Maybe we can get the community to help us on this, and kind of help reach that goal. I mean, that's really where we're at. Again, it's not about, I mean, we're not trying to, we don't want to raise the price of pay-per-views, of course, because that like the UFC, they kept raising the price, so it's like ridiculous amount of money to buy a pay-per-view. We're keeping it low, and even with inflation and everything, we've never raised the price, and we've given a discount, 5% to to the the social media person or the athlete, whoever is got the promo code, and the customer. So that's one way of getting those numbers up. Like I said, the other way is that I can think of is having a members only channel, and we actually have, after a week, we have the all of the fights on there for a much reduced price, but at least we can count that as part of our pay-per-view number. So anyway, I'm really curious what the community says on what we can do and ideas that they have for us, because that's a big deal. That's actually the biggest thing in front of us right now. The biggest challenge we have is getting out of pay-per-view and onto a platform that we have millions, or hundreds of millions of viewers. I mean, we get a lot of conversion. People that have never seen arm wrestling, or maybe seen a little bit, and now they become fans, and our whole sport grows like crazy. But in order to do that, we have a big obstacle in front of us.
So right now, the one of the biggest thing that people could help us out with is to help us combat piracy. That is literally the biggest thing. So I posted the email address. I'm gonna share it here on the screen. It is copyright@evwsports.com. If you see any Facebook link, Telegram, YouTube, Instagram, anything that is using our content before we release it officially, send a link to that email, and our copyright team will handle the strikes. Now, until we kind of figure out what we want to do, the one thing that I am considering releasing is, a lot of people are asking us, what is the official rules for using our matches, our content on their own videos, right? Okay, so rule number one, which is probably the biggest rule, is do not, screen grab and use any part of the matches that we, from our events before we release it officially. That's like a easy copyright strike. We constantly, I mean, we spend about, I think this time was the largest strike team that we've ever used. They took down hundreds and hundreds of videos, maybe over 1,000. We didn't even count. Though they did log it. And a lot of it is actually mature channels with thousands of users, and they are one strike away from getting their account banned. So I would really hate to see your account getting banned because you don't understand this very simple concept of do not use any part unless it's a static. So static meaning just a picture. You could use a picture, but do not use any of the matches. That's
So
like,
so let me ask a question, Dexter, because what I've told people in the past is that they can use part of our videos as long as it's not showing pins. So if it's showing the
no.
match, part of the match.
This is before we even release our videos. Before we release it out officially, they can't use any part of the video. That's
I guess it'd be too hard for the anti-piracy team to distinguish, because I don't think it hurts us. I think it helps us to have them show the matches that are that don't show the pins.
That there is a secondary reason. There's a secondary reason, because as soon as we now upload our version out there, we will put a content ID on it. And if people who wants to use part of the video, even it's not the pins, they now would be, when we upload it as and we place a content ID, especially on YouTube, for instance. Now, if you use part of our video, no problem. But now it is known that YouTube will notify us, such and such user is using this video. Is that okay? Most of the time, we just let it ride, unless it's a blatant, rip copy, which they did not do anything different other than just clipping the matches and putting on their own channel. Now, that's also the second thing that's not okay. You cannot just take the full matches and put it on your channel with no alteration. Now, if you take parts of it and you're describing, a play-by-play, and you're pausing it, and it says, "Oh, so look at it right here," right? Uh, at this point, such and such athlete is doing a lot of back pressure and whatever, like commentary things. So as long as you're doing some alteration, you're making a promo video, like 5 seconds from every match. Those are alterations. Those are completely acceptable. Only after you post it. There is a reason, and I'll explain to you the reason. Because now we get credit for, we get partial credit for some of your work. That is like the biggest thing. But it needs to wait until we release the full matches. Robert, 99.999% of the videos out there that ripping are always about with pins. Nobody's creating a video without pins before we release it a week later.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying if they don't show the pins, I think that helps us.
Kind of, in a way, but it's a the team won't be able to distinguish that. Most of the times they include pins anyway, so it's easy to just do a blanket. No, you cannot, clip any of our videos. I think that's just the way that it should be done. Yeah. So again,
screenshots. So just pictures or screenshots are allowed then.
Pictures, screenshots, videos of the arena, videos of the crowd. That's totally okay. Walkouts are also fine. But like in general, part of the matches are usually not okay. Now, now going back to the questions.
Dexter, before you go to the next question, I just wanted to thank everybody that is buying the pay-per-view, and because we have so many people in the community that are so supportive, and they've always has been, or they are becoming more supportive, or new people. I really want to express my appreciation for those fans and the community that's behind us, because that's what's actually helping us to get to this next level. I mean, we just need more people like you guys that are watching right now, and the many thousands that are supporting us. We just need more of you.
Yeah. The other question over here that's actually related is, wouldn't social media and YouTube views count towards getting to our goal? And the answer is a resounding yes, which is why we have to protect our matches. Because, say, Devin and Vitalis' match was heavily pirated. I'm gonna, guess that's probably over 1 billion views. Not even kidding, 1 billion views across all social media platforms on Devin and Vitalis' video prior to us releasing our video. Now, currently, I think our numbers are at 1.5 million, which is a very, very, very respectable number. But at the same time, we could have gotten probably triple that amount if there was no piracy. You see what I'm saying? So as soon as somebody sees it, please report it to our team, and our team will take it down promptly. So that would also, having all the pirates really is stifling our efforts in trying to get us faster to the mainstream stage. Let's see. That's a great question, actually, Lagia, who's asking that. Another one is asking, now back to questions on athletes. Kirigali Ongabayev, do you have any update on him?
No, just that he's still, he's not back to 100% yet. So we'll keep monitoring him, but we want him back as soon as he's 100% healthy.
Next is Bacho Saginishvili.
Yep, we are talking to Bacho and just trying to nail down a date. We're looking forward to having him back in action.
Okay. Another one is, someone's asking, when is EVW in Salt Lake City, Utah? From Scott Evans.
From Scott? That would be great. Yeah, we've talked about Salt Lake City for a long time. It probably wouldn't be a huge crowd. A lot of people can't travel. I mean, it's just a long drive. It's not like in in the Northeast United States where everything's so close, or even in Europe where everything's so close. Um, so I don't think we'd have a very big crowd, but we'd love to do it in Salt Lake City. And as even as early as this, last part of this year, um, or the fall of this year.
Yeah, a lot of the other questions I won't have them all read, but they're all asking when is EVW coming to my city, to my town. So everybody wants.
Yeah,
Here's the thing though, right? Honestly, Robert and I, we were thinking about where the company is heading, the organization. Uh, Really, the goal is to have more and more events, grow a bigger team, and so we can have more and more events, more like a higher frequency, and which means the higher frequency, the higher likelihood that will end up in your city, right? And the only way to do so is, I think, we need to grow viewership. We need to grow, and by one big way is to combat piracy. But for sure, we would like to be international as much as we can. We would love.
yeah. So maybe let's ask the fans where they want it to be, because we're looking at. I mean, the ones I'm looking at right now for the United States is Atlanta, Georgia. I think that's a really good one for maybe going back to Chicago. I'm talking to Chicago venues right now as well. Um, but I think for the most part, we want to move around and not go to the same place every time. We want to do South Carolina, but they're building a new arena that's supposed to be very, very cool, and that won't be done until next year, I understand. So we might want to hold off on South Carolina um, for another year, but would love to be there as well. Um, and I guess let's ask the
Texas.
audience.
There's quite a number of people talking about Texas.
Yeah, so Texas, I mean, do we want to go to the same place? Want to go to Arlington? Dallas wants us there pretty badly. That's pretty close to Arlington. Um, do we want to, I mean, what part of Texas are they thinking? Or are you
Okay,
thinking?
well, put it in the chat. That's good. That's real
But
good.
I am talking to Arlington and Dallas right now about doing an event this year, um, a U.S. event. So we got a lot of options, um, but yeah, those are the ones we're looking at right now. And then, of course, Vegas for December, looking real heavy on that. But we've got the hotel and venue that does want to do it is a little too small, especially if we have Levon. It'll be much too small. We'll need probably twice as big, maybe three times as big of an arena.
Well, talking about Levon, someone's asking about uh is he gonna pull Vitali before Devin? Does he still
Yeah.
get a shot knowing that he just lost to Devin?
So I would say, I mean, here, yes. If I mean, he would get a shot before if he is victorious in his next match. So he's ranked number 4 still. He's ranked number 4 in the world. Hermes is ranked number 3. Devin's ranked number 2. So really, what needs to happen is Hermes versus Vitali needs to happen. And if Vitali wins that, then the match with Levon makes a lot more sense.
That's right. One guy is just spamming in the chat. When is Oleg Jacques' next match? Should we
Well,
announce the great news?
the great news. Yeah, do you want to share the great news?
No.
Dexter?
You can go ahead. You go ahead.
So we just got Oleg Jok's U.S. visa, which is amazing.
Not just any
And
visa. Not just any visa. A 10-year
a
multiple
10-year,
entry
yeah,
visa.
which is really really big. So we can have Oleg Joke here quite a bit. We just have to have the right opponent for him. He's actually willing to come right now. I mean, for Little Rock, we just need the opponent that I had for him that was perfect um, wants to pull him, but he's not ready for June 6th. So that is one of the options that I'm still looking at for Little Rock, but yeah, you'll be seeing a lot more of Oleg Joke in America
Yeah,
and overseas in Europe as well.
that's great. Let's see. The other one, now this one is quite controversial because on Reddit people are talking about it. I also saw it on social media. It's about how, let's explain Michael Todd's immediate title shot as an unranked, uh, you know, athlete in that division. And internally, we even talked about it. So, why don't you see if you can help answer that question, Robert?
Yeah. Well, he's unranked, but he was a contender. I mean, he was at 105 kg and was you know doing very well, um, but he hasn't been active. So we actually had him on there as a contender, and but we decided, let's change that from a contender to unranked because he's just been inactive for too long.
Yeah. The, and I saw somebody helping defend our decision here, and I thought it was a pretty good one. If you look at Manifester, right? He he shot he got the title shot after his first match, which some said it was too early. But does it really that matter that much if that person has a real chance in actually getting and
Yeah.
winning, right?
Yeah.
So
That's the point right there. I mean, when Manifester came on the scene, people didn't think that we were wise to move him up like we did. Same thing with Bogdan. People thought we were crazy on that as well. And what they don't realize is that if you're really paying attention to arm wrestling, these guys are very, very good. They're a Manifester was worthy of a. I mean, not logically maybe, but we knew that he was very, very capable of winning the world championship last year. But we had to take him through the process. He had to win the Swiss Open, which is the largest tournament in the world. 25 world champions competing in that one tournament last November. It was an EVW Swiss Open event, and we were there. Shazana and I were there watching that, and we already knew how good Manifester was, but that just sealed it when he just destroyed everybody in his field. And again, these are 25 world champions competing at this event in Europe. And then his opponent, Vlad the Destroyer, did the same thing in another weight division. Um, so Manifester came down in weight. Manifester won the 95 kgs with ease, just beat everybody like easily. Vlad the Destroyer beat everybody with ease in the 85 kg. We paired those two up in the 85, and then the same thing happened. I mean, Manifester destroyed Vlad. I mean, and then he did the same thing to our world champion, our most decorated world champion in EVW's history, 10-time defending world champion. No one's ever done that. So anyway, I mean, but we knew how good he was, I guess the point is. And so we couldn't just put him in a title shot. He had to earn his way into EVW by winning the Swiss Open. But he not only won it, he won it with extreme ease and probably the hardest tournament in the world. And then he beat, Vlad, who won the tournament with ease in his weight division. I mean, so yeah, we knew how good he was, and the same thing with Bogdan. Bogdan's worthy of this title shot as well, I believe. Um, so it doesn't have to be this slow, drawn out process. Um, I mean, if we know how good somebody is, we can accelerate their growth.
yep, exactly. Robert, now because I'm a little bit behind in reading the chat, the number one, in my opinion, obviously I didn't really calculate them. Number one location to have an event, Vegas. It's number two, Los Angeles.
Really?
Yes.
You've been pushing for Los Angeles for a long time, or Southern California, right? But the problem with Vegas, and maybe I'm wrong. I could be totally wrong on this. I admit it. But everybody except for Southern California and the few arm wrestlers that are in Vegas are going to need to fly in. And I know flights are fairly cheap into Vegas and all that, but everywhere else that we have, in the Northeast or in the East, they don't have to fly in necessarily. They can drive. I mean, in a lot of cases. So that's one problem, I think, with Vegas, that you have to fly, or most people have to fly. But for every other reason, I mean, it's great. I mean, it's a perfect location, perfect venue.
Yeah. So there you have it. Uh, somebody even said the Sphere. That would be the dream to have it.
Yeah,
One of the spheres.
maybe once we're to the Netflix type level, we can go to the Sphere.
Can you? I've been to the Sphere to watch one of the shows, and it is the craziest arena in the world, hands down, hands
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
It'd be super amazing.
Yep. So yeah, so and just to go back to that too, we want to get everybody on board with us on this, on getting this to the next level, and we're willing to do. I mean, what we're willing to do to make this happen. It's not about like short term. This is all long term thinking. If it was short term, we'd be going to Netflix right now saying, "Hey, give us a bunch of money and put us on your show." We're not asking for that. We're saying, cover our production costs, make this the biggest show that we could ever imagine, and we'll let you make the money from it. We'll basically hand you this gift, and so to speak, and then if it works, we stay with them. I mean, we're in. But if it doesn't work, I mean, we've actually taken the risk. So, I mean, we're willing to do whatever it takes to bring this sport to the next level. And we just need really the community, and the athletes are behind us already. I mean, we have the athletes 100% behind us. And if the community's behind us as well, I mean, we'll get there together, no question about it. And we'll get there much faster, working as a team and as a whole, as the whole community, doing really focused on the same objective.
Another one asks us if we plan to publish or share some of the training sessions of arm wrestlers to increase audience excitement for matches. The one thing that we are focused more instead, now we've got started, we have started, but we haven't really have the time to focus on this. It's actually background stories and documentaries on athletes, including some of our newer athletes as well. So that's more of a focus instead of the training sessions. The training sessions, we'll probably leave it up for the individual athletes to post on their own personal channel.
Yeah, but we have talked about that, and
have.
I think I think it's a good thing. I mean, whether we help kind of as a central, you know, platform for the distribution of those videos and promoting the training and the athletes, or whether we encourage them like we do now. There are a lot of people doing it. I mean, Toddzilla does it from time to time on his own channel, or other podcasters will, like I know Craig Subley, he'll put it on his channel, the training.
Right.
Bogdan Stoika does a great job, maybe the best I've seen as far as doing regular training videos. I mean, we just want to encourage more people to do the same thing. It doesn't
Or
matter.
Coach Ray.
Or Coach Ray. I
Or
mean,
Coach Ray.
we don't need to get the credit for it, or we don't need to actually have it on our channel necessarily. But if it helps, we can do it. But I don't know that we need to. But like you said, Dexter, I think that the athletes can do that on their own. I mean, we can.
I think it's good to have some on our channel, Robert. But the thing is the focus right now,
Yeah.
that we have to
Yeah.
we've got bigger things to focus on. So
Yeah.
for sure, it's a good thing to have, but on a lower totem pole.
Yeah.
Another one asks me if it's okay to show our reaction to the matches with only the live stream audio. That's fine. That's fine. The results are out there immediately anyway, so I'm not too concerned if people knew about what the result was. Um, let's see. The rankings has not been renewed on the website for a long time. I'll check on that because, from my understanding, it has been. We actually update that within within the next day or so after the event ends.
Well, actually, within like the week, it's supposed to, sometimes it's within a few days, but this time it wasn't. It wasn't done in a few days, so I asked if we could actually have that updated
Mhm.
immediately. And I was told, yes, they'll get it done the next day, which is today. So if it's not done, Dexter, maybe you can follow up on that and
I'll
make
check.
sure they do it. But
I think there was a change, and then because of something they held back on the update. But yeah, we'll change it. Will we
yeah,
start releasing pay-per-view buys? I don't think it helps or the the public to know that information. I think it's just for you guys out of curiosity. So they will probably just keep that private for now. Um, please, whatever you do, do not increase the pay-per-view price, no matter how successful. Well, if anything, Robert just mentioned as well, we actually lowered our price. We went the opposite direction to what people are fearing for, because we know this is in currently that with the wars and inflation and whatnot, we still want to keep the momentum of the sport growing. So
yeah,
no
yeah.
plans on
So
increasing the price anytime soon.
we have no intention of raising the prices. That like you said, Dexter, that's the opposite of what we want to do. We want to make it more appealing. We want to get more people, um, you know, purchasing the pay-per-view, even if it's at a lower price. It's just the number of pay-per-views is very important. And like, one of the comments said that YouTube is very important as well. But YouTube numbers are not really a big problem for us. I mean, everybody's happy. The big broadcasters, they've seen our YouTube numbers. There's no issue with those. It's the pay-per-view numbers that they have an issue with.
Okay. Another one is Ingen banned from EVW, or can he participate under certain circumstances?
Well, we haven't really talked too much about that. Um, so I guess we probably shouldn't, we can't really say at this point where we're at, but it's too early to say.
Great. Next, there's a guy Vasil. He's saying if he wins in Hungary, against Krasimir Konstantinov, will he get invited to an East versus West event?
The odds are pretty good. I mean, it looks, if he beats Krasimir, that's a pretty big deal. Krasimir hasn't been pulling as well. I mean, he hasn't been doing as well as he has in the past, but that's still a big accomplishment. The thing that we're really looking at is the EVW tournaments, and we're having some big tournaments in Europe. We're having one in Little Rock. We're going to have, those tournaments. We're going to be really watching for the talent that comes out of there, and those people are getting matches. I mean, and you can see it. Like even Atlantic City, we got matches. I mean, two people from Atlantic City got on the card the next day, and pulling. I mean, one of them just pulled again. Devon Bornman just pulled again in Germany. So, and then Swiss Open, we had five people selected from that tournament because it was such a big turnout, um, and most of them are still pulling at East versus West. So, I mean, we really are paying close attention to those events, but it doesn't have to be just EVW events or tournaments. It could be others, but we're going to pay a lot more attention to the EVW tournaments because we're there. Shardana's
Or,
there, I'm there, and we're watching.
another one is sort of a suggestion, but what if we sold the pay-per-view that only had the main and co-main event for $5 to $7 less, and you could sold it regular at still at 20?
Yeah,
I think, yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
I I mean, I don't know what you think. I think that's not a bad idea. I mean, anything we can do to increase the count, the pay-per-view numbers, it doesn't have to be the price. I mean, just the fact that there are people willing to pay for great matches.
Uh, well, from a technological standpoint, we cannot do it at this point because anytime you have a different pay class, you have to restart and start a new stream. And so that would cause a lot of confusion in the middle of a match. That you have to, like how we have the extended pass. As soon as the main event's over, it doesn't just roll into the extended pass. You actually have to quit your stream and click on the new stream. So for now, that's not ideal, but something to think about. Good thought though. Good thought, but that isn't it. The next one by Roy is asking: Is Zurich and FIBO event an annual thing for EVW? And there were a few more things about the Swiss event as well. I guess we can announce it. Yeah, Swiss Open is still a king of the table open, affiliate program, but we are not going to Zurich this year. We've decided to try to capture more market and just travel to a different city this year. So we'll be skipping Zurich this year. But nonetheless, Swiss Open is still going to be, if not the most challenging competition, a tournament in the world. And that's where really I think we have quite a number, like Robert mentioned, quite a number of our athletes that competed, that got an invite to EVW numbered event, came from the Swiss Open. So if you want to get an invite, good chances, one of the best ways is to go to Swiss Open and do extremely well there.
Yeah, and there's another event. I mean, there's other events. There are multiple events in Europe that are very big. Swiss Open might be the biggest. Actually, there's one in Italy that's pretty close to as big as Swiss Open. So next year we probably want to be quiet on this a little bit, but we definitely want to be in Italy next year and tied into one of the biggest tournaments in the world. Same thing with Budapest. We want to do that the same way. Huge tournament. Have our event. I think the more we do that, the better. And so, and like you said, Dexter, the more we kind of move around, don't do the same location every time. I think there's a few exceptions. Of course, Germany, that probably with FIBO and everything, that's just so big. We probably should have that as a regular.
Yeah, because I think. Go ahead.
And maybe another as well. I mean, like if Vegas turns out to be as good as people are thinking, and I'm hoping, that could be a regular stop as well. And there are a few other. Vienna was extremely good as well, and we can, it was almost as good as Germany. So that might be. That probably makes sense to have that as a regular stop, too.
I think the number one goal is in terms of growing the fan base, because I myself am a convert to the sport, and I was converted because I attended a live event, right? So like the one a partnership with FIBO made sense because there was a whole bunch of newer, I call it investigative fans that they were checking out the sport, and I'm sure when they attended our event in person, they were fully converted at that point, right? So if we look from that standpoint, FIBO had over 155,000 attendees. If we can every year we just convert more and more of the attendees into arm wrestling, it's big. This sport will go big.
Yeah. I'm surprised that Europe, the numbers, their fan base is growing bigger in Europe than anywhere. I would think that it would be growing bigger in America, especially since in America there's no sales tax. So when you pay $20 or $19, I guess, with the promo, you're paying $19. There's no extra cost. But when you're in Europe, you've got a 20 some odd percent, as high as 30% sales tax on top of that. So if if they put in a U.S. address, there's no sales tax. But
I think that's what most people are doing too, Robert.
oh, really?
We don't vet the IP address, and so if people want to put in the American zip code, country code, it works. So that
So
number it's kind of weird now, but
okay.
yeah.
So yeah. So I guess I'm kind of so maybe that's what they're doing because for some reason Europe is growing very well,
Yes.
and the U.S. is kind of just lagging, which normally the U.S. leads everything. I mean, it's kind of strange that the U.S. isn't leading out on this, and it's actually the Europeans that are.
Yes. Very quickly, somebody mentioned get Devin on Joe Rogan. Yes, we are actively, our PR team is actively trying to book Devin on Joe Rogan. So that is a pretty
Yeah,
high priority for the PR
yeah,
team.
yeah. It'll happen for sure. I mean, yeah, it's just a matter of time. Very little time. He'll be on Joe Rogan.
Yes, for sure. Let's see. New belts. Any plans for new belts?
New belts?
Yeah.
Not right away. I mean, you mean just to overhaul and do basically just
Yeah.
replace them all?
I've seen people talk about our belts, but right now it's on a at some point, like the gauntlet and the belts, it will get revamped, but it's not our biggest priority right now. I mean, we got
Yeah,
bigger
yeah. I
things that
mean,
we're working on.
yeah. I mean, I actually like the belts. I mean, the belts they're very heavy duty. If you feel other people's belts in other leagues, for example, they're kind of cheap. I mean, they're light.
Yeah.
If you pick up an EVW belt, I mean, you can see the quality. It's like very heavy, very substantial, and very well done. Very expensive as well. Kind of like the trophies that you just had made, Dexter, for the awards
Ooh.
winners. I mean, I took because I had to take one back for Tom Sobelbein, and it was so hard to carry. I mean, that thing weighs I mean, I don't know what you put in there. It's so heavy and so solid. Um, anyway, it's very high quality. Um, and so the belts are the same way, very high quality. So I frankly don't know why we would replace the belts.
Yeah. Let's see. The other one would be flags. The use of our flags and the Russian and not including Russia. Is that still the same for Little Rock?
Um, Yeah, I mean, it's the same no matter where we are because unfortunately we have to do whatever, I mean, so whatever the, um, WAF does, that's what we have to abide by those standards and they have to abide by the Olympic standards. So it actually comes from the Olympics. So if the Olympics, you know, changes their mind or adds it, I would love it to happen. I think the Russian flag should be included and would jump on that bandwagon. I'd be the first one to jump on it. But we do have to abide by the, the governing
International.
bodies. Yeah.
Uh, the next one is they're asking about Travis Bajan. So he was planning on coming. We got his tickets, everything to come to Germany, but due to a personal event, it required him to stay back. So
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, we probably shouldn't talk too much about it, but it was a family medical emergency that he had to stay behind, and so he chose the family over. But I mean, but we did have his ticket purchased, non-refundable, by the way. I mean,
yeah,
and non-credit, we don't get any credit for it. But so he really wanted to come. We really wanted him there, but he will be at Little Rock.
yep, yep. Let's see who is Manifester facing next.
Well, we've got two options for him, um, but so we can't really say yet. But we do have. I mean, he is going to be. Uh, he can't stay in the probably the 85 kg. Um, we do have Alan Zolev, who is not. He's been kind of not active so much. He's still been training. He's still super strong. he's been in the military, um, so he hasn't been able to, to to compete much. But he's ready. He's ready. He wants to come back to EVW, um, and he could be a very good opponent. But I think, that's one option. The other option is um, to move Manifester up to the 95 kg, because he said from day one to me, I'm going to be your 85 kg world champion. I'm going to be your 95. Then I'm going to be your 95 kg world champion. Then I'm going to be your 105. And then he's kind of proving himself to be kind of pretty accurate. And I think most people have seen the footage right after he, you know, easily swept Vlad the Destroyer in Vienna. Um, and also Oleg pretty
Patenko.
easily swept Tadzilla in Vienna. They're both fresh for fresh. They're the first ones up on the stage to do an after pull, and I think Petrenko thought he was just going to go right through Manifester, and he couldn't. I mean, it's pretty impressive when there's 20 kgs difference, 3 weight division difference, and I'm sure Oleg Petrenko could have beaten him, but it wasn't as easy as he thought it was going to be, and so he just stopped. So, any rate, I tend to believe Manifester is eventually, probably going to be, a 95 and 105 kg world champion. Um, but we might have him go with Zolev first. If we did the 95 kg, I think it should probably be Aracli versus Manifester. So those are the two choices.
Another one, super chat actually. Elliot Berry is suggesting that we use King of the Table the same way UFC use Ultimate Fighter, where they can earn a spot in the EVW card. Now, actually, that if you think about it, our tournaments are being rebranded as King of the Table, right? And like the Swiss Open is a King of the Table, and there will be more and more King of the Table. Like even the ones in Little Rock is also called King of the Table. Technically, yes, one match from the King of the Table would be promoted into the prelims in the EVW card. So it is exactly what you are suggesting. Um, that's great. The next one is, let me read this. It's quite long. Can you confirm that Ryan Bone has been suspended by WAF? If so, have you been made aware of the reasons why? Seems like it's a request from the Indian League for petty reasons. Shame. No, that's not something that we talked to WAF about. That's, you have to confirm that with Ryan Bowen himself and WAF yourself, because that's not really in our department. Really, I don't know. Robert, have you heard anything else?
Well, I mean, I saw the letter from WAF where he is banned, uh, but I don't know anything else. I was surprised that it happened. I mean, I didn't know that was going to happen. I was actually um, talking to Ryan um, about possibly coming back, and not like right away, but but at some point. But now we're not able to move forward unless he gets um, lifted. The ban gets lifted.
Yeah. Let's see. The next one is another super chat with no questions. I think you missed it. A top 8 contenders tournament to see who faces Levant and Barbora. I think we talked about this one. We toyed about this like 4 or 5 months ago,
Mhm.
and it's challenging. It's really challenging because tournaments and super matches have totally different styles. I don't know. What Robert? What do you, what are your thoughts on the tournament style for our top athletes?
Yeah, I really wanted to do it. I still want to do it. I mean, either like a round robin or a tournament style or of some sort. Um, Getting everybody there, um, all the top people there. Um, it would be more expensive for us for sure, because you're paying for all the top people um, all at once. But I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be, and it would be challenging. in other ways as well. But I've always liked the idea.
Next is now they're talking about Conor McGregor. Yes, so the same person, Ryan, who's the CEO of Bucked Up, is the person that can connect us with Conor McGregor.
Yeah, he said he'll do it anytime we want. But
Maybe the
we have,
Vegas event, Robert. Maybe the Vegas event.
yeah, we need the Vegas event for sure. Yeah, because I think he's still living in Vegas, isn't he?
I'm not so sure. I don't follow that closely. Next is a suggestion. You should use fans as piracy mole that can real-time email your team. For every 5 to 10 piracy videos links reported, they get one free pay-per-view. um, the big thing about that, Christian, is that how do we, just thinking out loud here, I think that's a great idea. It's a great idea to have something like that where the community helps us police the piracy that goes on, not just for our EVW events, for any pay-per-view events, in for any sport really. But the idea is, how do we know that the links that you report is unique, right? What if it's 10 pirated videos and 1,000 people reports the same 10 links? You see what I'm saying? So got to figure out those little details before we can actually instill that. But yeah, keep throwing your ideas out there. I've implemented a lot of things in the organization based on fan ideas. So that's good. The next one is, at what point will EVW start releasing the athletes' pay like UFC? And they're all pretty transparent about athlete salary. I think this could create extra buzz for EVW. What do you think, Robert?
I think it's too early um, to entertain that. I mean, there would be some, you know, there would be some issues. I think. I mean, if the athletes all knew what each other were getting paid as well, um, there's, well, hey, well, wait a minute, I should be getting paid more because this and that, and then it just opens up a lot of issues, and until we get to a certain point where things are more standardized. But we've got contracts in place that didn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, we inherited it, so it's like it's pretty hard to justify, uh, one salary over another. It could be favoritism over one athlete or somebody that was more loyal to the owner. It makes no sense. So releasing it, I think it would be it's definitely something we wouldn't entertain right now.
Okay. Totally agree with that. Next, here's another super chat question. Why is Devin saying out loud that he would like to face Levon next time with an advantage for him? Just because you're weaker shouldn't get an advantage.
An advantage for him. I didn't hear him say that. Did you hear him say that, Dexter?
He he may have said that, and I think what probably Devin meant, because I think he has told me several times, is that because he competes fairly well, a lot more regularly than Levon, his time to prepare for a super match
Uh,
isn't
yeah.
quite as long. So he's hoping that the next time he faces Levon, he has, either a lot more time or Levon has a lot less time to match, kind of
That makes
everybody's on the
sense.
playing field.
Yeah, that is that's a fair statement for sure, because Levon does have a long time to prepare, and Devin has very little time to prepare typically.
Yeah. Here's another one. Now, uh, question: the women matches were blowouts. Could you explain the difficulties you're having creating competitive matches for women?
Yeah, the women, there's just not there's not as many, top level, you know, elite arm wrestlers. I mean, in the women's category. So you take Barbara, for example. She's so much stronger than any other woman that we don't have a match for her. I mean, like there's nobody that we can actually pair her against right now. I mean, it's even worse than Levon. So, and then when you go to the next level, like let's say the Gabby Vasconcelos level, there's really nobody close to that. I mean, like now we think we found somebody for her, and we're about ready to to sign, but um, but it's very difficult. And then because we think we might have somebody at her level, we don't really know until they compete because the gaps are so different. At these high levels, if you're I mean, it just shows that arm wrestling, that they talk about all the time. There's levels to this game, right? But even in the elites, look at Oleg Petrenko. There's nobody even close to him in his weight category. And if you look at Todzilla, there's nobody even close to him in his weight category. So who do we pair him against? I mean, it's very difficult, and it's even worse with the women at the high levels.
Yeah, it's not the easiest, but it will be done. So
Yeah.
thank you
Now,
for the
if we wanted to go with lower levels, that would be much easier. Then you can find the levels pretty easy. But if you're really trying to find a world champion level, pretty tough. I mean, and now, I mean, you look at other weight categories as well. I mean, look at like who are you going to get to compete with Arthur Makarov now? Um, I mean, they're really we don't have anybody for him, and so we've got to have him move up in weight. Um, and the same with Samusha until his recent loss. There's nobody for him either. He beats everybody. Um, but now, there are some other options that he has, but not for the championship level. And if you look at all the different weight divisions, the only one that's really not, uh, the only one that doesn't really fit the mold is the 115 kg. When you get all the guys that want to go on the 115 kg, that's a pretty exciting weight class right now because we have a lot of people that could win that could take the belt.
interchangeable. Thank you, Super Chat. Here's the next one. Dexter, what do you feel about Ingen gloating about beating both Makarov and Mindy? I don't think I saw that video.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's really, he's just taking quotes from Makarov saying there's a percentage, he gives a 45% chance to be able to beat Ingen if they were both at the same weight. So if they were both 77 kg, he gives himself a 45% chance. He only gives Mindy like a 30% chance, 25 to 30, something like that. So that's what I think that the fan is talking about. But yeah, I don't think there's any real comment that I can give on that. It's just that's just kind of normal.
There's another super chat. Well, actually, a few people have been mentioning this. When is Joseph Maranto's next match? He dominated the last one. 154 class needs some more love in EVW. So maybe he has a match with Ustinov, potentially.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I had a match for him in Atlantic City, but he had already been, and I contacted him fairly early, but he had already committed to another match. Otherwise, we would have had him a match in Atlantic City, and then, from there more. So, yeah, that's the problem is
Maybe
matching schedules.
yeah. But I think we'll have him this year, Robert. I think we'll have him come this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very high likelihood.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have other events already
Conflicts,
planned.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. Here's another one. EVW event in Germany this year. So probably not. Probably not.
Probably not this year.
For sure not this year. I think we got the rest of the year kind of mapped out on where we want to go. So
Except for the U.S., the September, September 12th. That's the date we'd like it to be in the U.S. That one's a little bit up in the air. I'm talking to a lot of different people,
yeah,
a lot of
could be
opinions.
Asia, could be America.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. You want to tell them more about where in Asia?
Potentially
Almost.
Thailand. Potentially Thailand. And I think I did mention in the past. Potentially
Okay.
Thailand. We're still working through the details a little bit. And if it works out, then another continent that we have not been yet to bring the sport to the to that city. Okay, so someone mentioned about, and I want to correct this, the Russian speaking audience don't buy pay per view; they only watch YouTube. And kind sir, that is not the case anymore. Did you know? I don't know if I showed you the video, Robert, where this year, well, sorry, this past event, we had officially for the first time an organized viewing of our match at a movie theater in
Oh,
Russia. So our
nice.
Russian partners booked out a whole movie theater, showed EVW, and charged people a nominal sum to get in and watch the whole event at a movie theater. It was
Really,
mind blowing.
really nice. No, I didn't know that you set that up. That's a great job.
Yeah, so we didn't really have good pictures and videos because it was so dark, unfortunately. Else I would have posted it and gave credit to them. But yeah, so the Russians are able to buy the pay per view through Armvox as they are our official reseller, and yeah, it's been doing decent. So for sure, the Russian speaking, especially in Russia itself, they are there's a lot of fans there, and we need to cater to them. The next one we have is, when is the next COT event? Well, guess what? It's at Little Rock, June 5th. June 5th at Little Rock.
Yeah, so
Be
I
there.
think they need to understand that the COT events are going to be now our tournament series, and for EVW is going to be COT.
Yep.
Not so we don't plan on having a COT event like EVW, but we're going to have two very distinct and different events for EVW and COT.
Yes. Correcto. Another one is asking, can Ayane come to Arkansas?
She could. She could if there was a good match for her, but we don't have anything for her.
Yeah. Yeah. Let her enjoy the belt for a while, all right? Let her enjoy the belt. Here's another one. Oh, trading cards. We were working on it. And with so much going on, the graphics team is struggling. It's really struggling to keep up with the work. Because if you think about the amount of design that's required to go in on a full-blown trading card, and this is something that it's kind of my fault as well, because the graphics team, I've already mentioned, like, you know what, they initially started the whole thing, but it becomes an overwhelming project because every athlete has to have 4 different designs, right? The common, uncommon, rare, and the chase card, or you call it ultra rare, super rare, whatever you want to call it, right? And that ultra rare would be in the form of autographs, right? So when you have, we're talking about, say, even 80 athletes, 100 athletes, that's 400 designs you have to individually do. And then the back of the card has to have the stats updated, some description. It's a lot of work. And so and because we had, our main focus is still our main event and the promotion of the main event. Therefore, it keeps getting shoved to a lower priority, and it gets postponed and postponed. Now, this is something I would go out to all the fans out there. If you are if you think you can help us from the graphic design standpoint, reach out to me at Dexter at evwsports.com. We need help, right? We need help with our video department, creating promo videos. We are actively always looking for people to help us out there. and also graphics for the trading cards. So hit me up. Would love to see some of your portfolios on that. Here's another one, another super chat. Have you guys thought about pairing high level lighter weight guys against lower level super heavies, like a David and Goliath type matchup?
We sometimes do that. I mean, well, with Alajon, we just did it, and then it'll happen again with Alajon pretty soon. So, yeah, I mean, more of that. I think that's good. We also are talking about how to use Barbara, because there's really nobody for her unless we put her with a man, maybe a lighter weight man, or maybe a bodybuilder who's also an arm wrestler, or has arm wrestling knowledge. That could be a really good match. And I mean, that's about the only way I know to use her. And that's kind of the same thing. I mean, in a more diverse way. I mean, it's even bigger. I mean, having a woman against a man, but that's the only way Barbara is going to get a match that's close.
Yeah, that's
so we want to do we so I guess the answer is yeah, we actually do want to do more of that kind of thing where it makes sense.
That's right. The next one is updates on Gashevsky.
So there's no update on him yet. We're talking to, you know, we're flying to the European Championships to talk to WAF. That's one of the things I'd like to talk about is Gachevsky, and whatever we can do to help move that along.
Yeah.
We'd love to have him back, or have him at EVW.
Another question here is, are we done uploading? Oh, after we're done re-uploading all the older EVW and COD matches from other channels, will we copyright the original upload? I think there's only one other channel that is holding onto the matches, but yeah, we'll cross the bridge when we get there. Another question here: any chance of being able to do co-streams or alternate pay-per-view for other regions, with some of us casting it with commentary and translation in the languages of the regions like Spanish and Russian? So it is possible. It is possible that the technology exists, but for us to set up the whole equipment, I believe that the most reliable method is that the casters has to be there with the broadcast team in person. Okay, and the machine itself, it costs us 5 digits to purchase it. Don't ask me why it's so expensive. Probably because it's such a niche machine. And even to rent it, it's I think anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 depending on the country, right? And to turn it on and everything. So that's why I've been hesitant to do so, because it's so expensive. But it is possible. It is possible. And I think as time goes, we may actually have to start doing something like that, because I think we'll pick up a lot more fans, because not everybody understands English. So the time will come. The time will come, and we have to assess when, because it's pretty expensive. Let's see, Robert. Right now, the chat is going off on the whole weight cut thing, and sorry, the whole water loss thing. Coming in 10 kilos lighter. 10 kilos heavier when you compared to when you weigh in. So here's a question: changing the rules to avoid weight gap on fight day, to switching something more fair, like one championship is doing. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't see why we would if no one else is doing it in arm wrestling. So you got the WAF, you got IFA, none of them do it. I mean, in fact, they give several days, so you can weigh in, and then 2 days later you're pulling. I mean, you can really stack on the weight. In some cases, it's only one day, but it's never the same day. So, and I don't know any other event, um, that does it. I mean, there's no other, that I'm aware of. There's no other big league that I know of that does it or that has done it. So I don't know why we would do something um, different than everybody else has done. Um, yeah, I mean that's just the way it's always. That's protocol. But um, anybody can do it. They can go down. So basically, you're having people go down a weight class that they can, um, and that's their option. It's always been their option.
Here's another one. Have you officially retired from pulling, Robert, or do you still want to pull outside EVW?
I would still like to pull actually because that's really what my passion is arm wrestling. So I would like to. I just wouldn't have. I don't know where I'd find the time to train, but yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, let's
Well, I
see.
know. So Brian Shaw's coming to Utah next month, and and you know he wants to do some training and go through some things. So um,
Perfect.
I'll be doing that. So that'll be some training, some nice
Lovely,
training.
lovely, lovely, lovely. He- yeah, his response to his match against Leonidas was very, very professional. He's like,
Yeah,
I just couldn't get there, and he wasn't making excuses. He was just like, I need to get better. That's so professional.
yeah, yeah. He handled everything so. I mean, just perfectly, like you said. I was very impressed with Brian and how he. I mean, he actually pulled very well too. I mean, it's just the straps that he needs some work on. Or Leonidas is so skilled in the straps because he spent so much time with Devin's house. He's arm
Yeah,
wrestled for
right.
several years longer, um, and I think once Brian learns how to pull in the straps, that's a big deal. I mean, and he doesn't even. I mean, he doesn't probably realize how close he is to being able to gain some massive, a whole level or maybe more just by learning the straps.
There's a joke there. You versus Ingen. Whoever wins runs EVW. That's funny. Uh, and another question is, well, like, can Camille pull the winner of Hermes and Morozov?
That's something that we've talked about, um, and that is an option if there are enough fans that really want to see that fight. Um, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that as far. I was not originally thinking of that, but I have been talking to a few people, including Hermes, who threw that out there, and he said he'd be willing to do it before his fight with Vitali.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm not sure if that makes sense or not. But if enough people want to see the match, well, then that makes sense. But I just don't know if enough people would actually think that that would be a 50-50 or close to 50-50.
Uh, here's okay. It's almost 90 minutes, and I'd like to slowly close it down. But here are last few more questions. One is like, why wouldn't we let Gachevsky pull EVW? The answer is very simple. We abide with our partner WAF, and so if someone is banned by WAF, we are unfortunately not allowed to have him pull at our event, including King of the Table. So there's that. The next thing is, well, another question for Irony. Why no match for Irony? But we will skip that. The one question actually I have for the public is, what did everybody think about the 360? You know, I'll just, for simplicity, I'll just call it the boxing ring style stage where it's in the middle. What did everybody think about that? Did we miss angles? Is this really the best way to show arm wrestling? I'd like to hear. I'd like to see a little bit of comments from the fans. What could we do better? Now I know, it's we've been elevating and we've been growing. We've been learning from a lot of things that we can improve on. But I always like to see good feedbacks. I know there's not a lot of time left, but if you do have any feedbacks, you can always email me, or you can email use our contact form on our website. I would love to I actually personally read all those to see where we can do better. So
So it's Dexter at EVW Sports or contacts at EVW Sports.
yeah, either one works. Eventually it'll get back to me anyway. We do have. Oh, and the last question I actually have for everybody, because now I'm hearing both ways, honestly, and I can't really tell what the predominant sentiment is, but it's actually the wrinkles. What does everybody think about the wrinkles as well? So while everybody is responding to that, I'm just gonna read a few about the whole setup. The 360 is perfect. However, in the one thing is the in-person crowd behind the two athletes. Now, behind the refs are usually okay because they kind of step out of the way, but it's behind the athletes. If they are at ground level or any level lower than the table, they pretty much can't see too much. You see what I'm saying? So that's where my worry is for those. So we have to see where the arena is before we employ this stage again. But Robert,
Well,
I'm actually seeing almost 100% of the comments here. They all love it. I'm guessing these are all pay-per-view buyers as well. So on
yeah,
the pay-per-view,
I mean, it
they
looks
all love it.
great from pay-per-view standpoint, and we were fortunate to have bleachers on the sides that
Yes.
actually elevated the viewers or the audience. So it was actually pretty good for the most part from that perspective. So from a live audience perspective, I think if you have bleachers on the sides, I think it works.
Okay, I'm seeing it's, as I suspected, kind of a mixed sentiment about the wrinkles. I think 80% are saying yay to wrinkles.
Well, I mean, if you ask the women, the women that I've talked to don't like it for the most part.
Okay.
But the men, for the most part, like it. In fact, I asked Levon about it in the green room in Germany, and he said, I don't want to answer that. Right, I don't want to answer that. And right behind him was his wife. So
Hopefully he's not seeing it. Seeing this video.
yeah. But I already know what his answer would have been, but no, he couldn't give me his real answer.
Yeah. Matter of fact, actually, when we were designing, when we were we had our German partner who help us with organizing all these, including the outfits. They were asking us what was the outfit, which is, when in doubt, let's just see what UFC does and just use their style. So it's we're not reinventing a successful wheel. We're just following them to see what's the fastest and best way that we could get to mainstream. And so that's what it is. But overall, I think the event's great. Once again, I thank each and every one of you for supporting us. The quick key main things to walk away from today is, first, email me for if you have any questions. But obviously the biggest one I wanted to hear is if there's anything that we can do better, or anything or any ideas you think that we could be doing to help the sport grow. And the last thing is, buy your tickets and plan on getting to Little Rock, Arkansas, the weekend of June 5th and 6th, because it's going to be absolutely the biggest. We've actually have by seating capacity the largest ever, much bigger than Germany, largest ever EVW 25. Absolutely nuts. You don't want to miss that. And I hate to revert back. Somebody's mentioning the audio for the athletes. it's something we understand that's happening. However, commentary is being played over the in-person venue, and because of that, to prevent the echo, there is limitations on how much gain we can have on the athletes. Now, Robert and I, we are discussing a plan to change that so that commentary, the main commentary, so we'll have a separate commentary team, one for the in-person venue, and we have another separate one for the pay-per-view. When it's two different feeds, then we can have the gain better on the athletes' mic. So yes, we are aware of that, and we will do better very shortly.
Well, I mean, and again, I mean, we would have to. There's a lot of complications that come from that, because we would have to have Neil and on, not be a commentator anymore. He would just be announcer, and so we'd lose something. I mean, a lot of people like his commentary. He's got pretty knowledgeable. He's got a lot of insights.
For sure.
So we would lose it. There are pros and cons to doing, to having a little better audio for the athletes.
Yep. So, So, thank you, Robert. Thank you, all the fans. You have been great. You have been great. Again, don't wait. Ask the questions on this live channel as soon as we're done, and I'll try to answer as best as I can. So till then, thanks, Robert. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night, and keep pulling.
Thank you, Dexter. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.